My boyfriend and I have mismatched libido, and it's making me guilty. I'm 20 female. My boyfriend is 21 male. We've been together a bit over a year, and our relationship is genuinely really good. We're loving, kind to each other, communicate a lot, live together, and I truly find him incredibly attractive. This is specifically about our spicy sleep life, because we keep having the same conversation, and I feel stuck and confused. By the way, this comes from Hyings, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. When we first got together, I was very spicy, sleepily forward. I found and still find him insanely attractive, and I've always been loud and proud about that. I'm very affectionate naturally, touching him, complimenting him, flirting, etc. I also make a big effort to show affection in the way he's told me he likes. We met at uni and basically lived together for 6 months, separate rooms technically, but practically always together. I worked from home at the time, so we were around each other a lot, and our spicy sleep life was very frequent and spontaneous. A few months in, I went on birth control. It completely tanked my libido. That's terrifying. I lost probably 70% of my interest in spicy sleep. It became a big issue. He felt undesired and hurt, and I honestly understood why. I went off of it after a month or two because it was damaging our relationship, but since then, things haven't fully gone back to how they were. We've done long distance briefly, like a month, had an amazing holiday together, and now live together again while both working 9-to-5 jobs for our placement year. We still have regular spicy sleep, but we keep circling back to the same issue. Last night kind of summed it up. He said, "I'm spicy." And I replied something like, "Okay, would you mind if we just kiss and cuddle instead? I'm not really feeling it right now." He said okay, but then immediately said he was tired and went to bed, which is something he does when he's upset but doesn't want to talk yet. For context, he's quite reserved and introverted. I'm much more extroverted. When something's bothering him, he usually goes quiet and needs time before talking. This time, it was different. I had just been to the corner shop, and the worker there had said something to me that made me feel self-conscious and uncomfortable, literally 20 minutes before. I told him this at the time and told him as well that I wasn't feeling it because of that, but he still reacted the same way. Later, he explained that although we still have spicy sleep, and he's okay with me initiating most of the time, he feels like when he initiates, he gets turned down more often. He said that when I initiate, I often do it by making a request, and when he initiates, he feels like he can't make those requests or express his desire in the same way without being rejected. I completely understood that and apologized. I genuinely didn't know I was doing that. Where I'm stuck is this. I don't know what the right response is when he initiates and I'm not in the mood. If I say no, it hits his self-confidence really hard and makes him feel undesired. If I say yes when I'm not actually feeling it, we both agree that we'd rather I be enthusiastic and present, not forcing myself. But isn't saying yes when I don't want to also bad? This is complicated by the fact that my previous relationship was harmful. With my current boyfriend, learning to say no and listen to my body felt like progress and healing. So now I feel really confused and almost guilty. Like I learned to assert boundaries, but now those boundaries are hurting him. I also keep spiraling into thoughts like, does this mean I'm not spicily attractive to him, even though I know I am? I tell him constantly how attractive he is. I love touching him. I'm very affectionate, and emotionally, I feel very connected to him. He's also a genuinely great partner. Romantic, thoughtful, brings me flowers, does the lion's share of chores, very loving. So the usual advice of maybe he's not doing enough doesn't really apply. Some extra factors that might matter. I have ADHD. When I'm off my medication, I'm more carefree and more likely to be spontaneous, spicily. When I've taken my meds and come home from work, my brain feels overstimulated and exhausted. I want to focus on something calming or engaging like gaming, drawing, or watching something together. I kind of have to take my medication most days though, because otherwise it's hard to get out of bed and do anything really. Hygiene, self-care, chores. I'm usually too tired to initiate right before bed. I genuinely find him very schmexy. I even told him he can touch me whenever because I like it, but he doesn't do that much. And edit, I feel like I should clarify, he's not consistently, there's a lot of stuff going on here, ready to go for 2 hours. It's hard for us to change positions, though, as he will go not ready 2 or 3 times. I will use my mouth and we'll do something else, but it takes a lot to get him to finish, usually me talking to him. One thing that really hurt and surprised me, he told me that when he initiates, especially over text, and I respond affectionately but not spicily, he sometimes feels like he's spicy pestering me. That broke my heart. I never want him to feel that way, especially as my boyfriend. When I do turn him down, I'm never cold. I always hug him, reassure him, and tell him I love him. For context, I occasionally watch porn when he's at work, usually Thursday and Friday when I'm off. Sometimes when he comes home after that, I'm very turned on and we have spicy sleep. I've also read some of those TikTok smutty books that I hate, but also have helped me get into the mood. But I feel weird and guilty about it not being organic, and I don't really tell him about it. I don't think he watches porn, but I wouldn't mind if he did. We're into a lot of different desires. Not sure how much detail is appropriate. He likes when I'm in control most, and so do I. But lately, the best way to get me turned on is when he takes control. I've also told him that sometimes I go through stretches, days, a week, maybe longer, where I'm just not interested in it at all. Not porn, not doing stuff on my own, nothing. To me, that feels like a lack of interest in spicy sleep, not in him. But I don't think it feels that way to him. In my head, I want him to work on not taking rejection for spicy sleep as such a huge blow to his self-worth. Because it's frustrating that I can show him love constantly in every other way, but one no seems to outweigh all of that. I know that's a simplified and probably selfish way to think, though. At the same time, I do want to work on meeting him halfway, figuring out how to get in the mood more often or how he can initiate in a way that works better for me. Him just saying, "I'm spicy," or texting me explicit stuff randomly during the workday, if I'm not already a little turned on, doesn't really do it for me. But I don't know how to explain that without making him feel rejected again. Kisses and other stuff can turn me on, but I think it's that fear with him again of being rejected. He's just terrified to be what he sees as vulnerable, I think. I've Googled this endlessly and keep seeing advice that men eventually stop asking after enough rejection and build resentment, or that women should just say yes more, and that honestly scares me. Sometimes I even get frustrated though and wonder why spicy sleep is such a need for men. Isn't every other single form of intimacy enough? But I get brought back down to earth when remembering that if he was doing the same thing to me, I would probably feel quite hurt. I'm very open to accountability here. If I'm handling this badly, I want to know. I'm just worried, confused, and tired of having the same emotional conversation without actually fixing anything. If you need more info, I'm happy to answer. And if I suck, please tell me. I can take it. And that's the end of the story.